Hi, and welcome to the Embassies of Cinema channel. I'm Brian Seaweed. I'm a director and cinematographer. We are located at 3419 West Olive Avenue in Burbank, California, or visit us online at www.embassiesofcinema.com. Today, I am showing you the Canon EOS C300 digital cinema camera. This camera is built to be a major step up from standard DSLR filmmaking. While the 5D Mark II, 7D, and now the 5D Mark III are excellent filmmaking tools in their own right, they do have a lot of shortcomings and issues which need to be compensated for when on set. This camera, the C300, makes up for a lot of those issues and makes for an excellent workflow on set. To start off with, some of the features that we have here is a camera body, which is less than 3 pounds. We feature a super 35mm sensor. It's technically the exact same size as 3perf super 35mm film, giving you about a 1.5x crop factor when compared to full frame 35mm, such as what's in the 5D Mark II and the 5D Mark III. On board this camera, you can see one of the most interesting and favorited features are the built-in ND filters. We have 3 separate filters, a 2-stop ND filter, a 4-stop ND filter, and a 6-stop ND filter. Also, on the back of the camera, you can see all of the professional outputs and inputs, including your sync out, your gen lock, your timecode, and HD SDI outputs, and you also have your remote port for link control and HDMI port as well. Also on the back, you'll see that the camera has 2 compact flash slots for dual slot recording or redundant recording, which means that you can record directly from one compact flash slot onto the other, with no break in frames or break in recording. Or if you have 2 compact flash cards inside, you can do dual redundant recording, which records the same image on both compact flash cards, giving you an instant backup of your media. One of the DSLR issues that this camera addresses is the 12-minute limit in recording that you get on the 7D and 5D Mark II. Those limits are imposed by the FAT32 memory design. This camera features the XF codec designed by Canon, which gives you unlimited recording for as long as you have power and media. You can record consecutively over and over and over for as long as you like. On the back here is another feature borrowed from Canon's DSLR line of cameras. You see a small LCD screen giving you your most important information, including ISO, shutter speed, ND filters. You also have audio meters on board back there, and it will also give you battery life left and also your time left on your CF cards. So here we have for comparison a bare Canon C300 body and a Canon 5D Mark II. They're actually very similar, as you can see, in size, and they're also very similar in weight. However, one of the major differences between these 2 cameras is the professional connections that you get with the Canon C300 that DSLR shooters are missing from the cameras such as the 5D Mark II. Canon DSLR shooters know that the only external monitoring options with the DSLRs are the mini HDMI connections. That issue has been addressed in the C300, where you have a full-size HDMI connection and also a professional BNC HD SDI connection. Either of these will give you a full 1080p 422 image out, whereas with the 5D Mark II, while you do get a 1080p playback, you only get a 480p squeezed image while shooting. However, with the Canon C300, you have a clean 422 uncompressed 1080p image coming out of either your HDMI or your HD SDI. So you can record onto an external recorder such as the Blackmagic Shuttle or the Atomos Samurai. and you can record uncompressed HD 422 in ProRes or uncompressed depending on your recorder. Another major difference and significant advantage that the C300 has over DSLR shooting is important body controls of camera features. The C300 is designed to be a professional motion imaging device, and in such has plenty of body controls on the left side of the camera. You can see here you have your magnify for focus assist, you have peaking controls, you have zebra controls, and you have your waveform controls right here on the camera body, as well as your ND filter controls. You also have headphone volume, you have your custom picture profile controls, status, and display info right on the side of the body there. Other controls on the left side of the camera body include two wheels, one for menu selection, the other for iris control of your EF lenses. You also have your camera power switch, which can be taken to media, camera on, or the locked position, which then disables all of your on-camera body controls. So you can see here that this is a camera that is built to be the next evolution of DSLR filmmaking with its professional controls, features, and specifications. Finally, here we have a real camera. So while this is the bare bones camera body of the C300, the package actually comes with accessories such as a side handle, a top handle, and an external monitor module with XLR inputs. So the first accessory we'll put on is the side handle grip, which screws on here. There's a small connector, 1/8 inch connector, that fits right inside this receptacle here. When you push it in, you just want to make sure that you feel that click. Good. And then once you've got that, just fit it in and screw it right on. On the handle, you have your start-stop controls. You also have a wheel for iris function. And on the back, there is a joystick control for controlling the menu. And there's also a user assignable thumb button that the default setting is set to magnify for your focus assist. The top handle fits right on the hot shoe on top of the C300. Slides right on, screws down, and once in place, very, very secure, and gives nice balance when you have a lens attached. Top handle also has two cold shoe adapters, as well as an accessory port. And finally, we have the external monitor module and XLR connections. And has two cables which plugs into the back of the camera here. You'll see EXT1, EXT2, and the cables are actually labeled 1 and 2, so you know which ones go where. Canon has actually released two different models of the C300, and the only difference between the two is your lens mount option. The Canon C300 PL has a PL mount, and this model, which is a Canon C300 EF, which has the EF mount, that is the standard Canon mount. With this mount, you can use any of Canon's EF mount lenses. You can use primes, zooms, whether they're L series or EFS mount, will all fit on the C300 EF. The Canon C300 EF mount is not like an adapter. It's a real Canon mount with electronic contacts and communication. It allows the camera to read the focal length and read the iris and store that information in the metadata. Let me put a lens on. You can see some of the abilities of the mount. This is a Canon 85mm f1.2 L series prime lens. One of the interesting things about this lens is the focus ring only works if it's powered. So since this is a real Canon mount that offers the power and communication. Once we turn the camera on, then we get active focus control in the lens, which is not possible with this type of lens on a dumb adapter or regular EF adapter. You can also use some of the specialty lenses not available to any other camera system, such as Canon's 24mm tilt shift lens, or even one of its fisheye lenses, which gives you very unique looks that you're not really easily capable of getting on any PL mount camera. So here we have the C300 monitor module with your image here and your monitor controls, and also your audio controls right here. You have dual XLR inputs, records 2 channels of linear PCM uncompressed sound. Here you have your monitor, which gives you your image and your information. You can see that you have your battery life told to you by the minute. You also have your time left on your CF cards told you by the minute. You have focal length. You have all your standard lens controls, your ISO, your shutter speed. Over here you have your time code. Then you have your codec settings. The camera records a maximum of 50 megabit per second, 1920 by 1080 codec, which is a broadcast approved codec. It's accepted by any network. Discovery gives it a gold level. It's accepted by BBC. 50 megabit 422 internal codec of the camera gives you a lot of versatility, and it's a very, very robust codec that stands up to grading very, very well. Down here you also have your audio meters and settings down there as well. One of the bigger differences with between the DSLRs 5D, Mark II, 7D is the menu controls. You have a real menu that gives you access to features and settings not available to you on DSLRs. You can go in and make custom settings. One of the more interesting ones is setting your iris increment, which can be set for half a stop, 1/3 of a stop, which is about the limit that you can get on DSLR. And you also have a fine setting on the C300, which will give you a 1/8 stop increment on your EF lenses, which allows for very, very, very precise exposure controls. Keep going through. One of the other interesting features on the camera is your Cinema Locked feature. Cinema Locked, when this feature is turned on, puts the camera into C-Log mode and disables all custom picture profile settings and capabilities. This way, when you have Cinema C-Locked on, as it is here, you know that your camera is set up for shooting C-Log, which gives you your maximum dynamic range and post color correction capabilities. You also have your black balance setting. You can send off color bars if you need to send that out. And also there's the peripheral illumination correction, which you can either turn on or off, which is another great feature of having the EF mount lenses, is that the camera is loaded with the profiles for hundreds of Canon EF mount lenses and is able to correct for the vignetting that happens at larger aperture settings. So you have a screen that gives you clear illumination across the board. Below this, you have your audio settings, where you can set your trimming, your attenuation, your limiting, what channels, and you can specify 2 different channels or 1 input recording to both channels. Video settings, you can set your outputs, your SDI, your sync output, your HD on-screen display, SD on-screen display, and SD output settings. Then you have your LCD and viewfinder setups. The camera does have an LCD screen. It also has an EVF viewfinder. Both can be used separately or at the same time. You can make your viewfinders black and white if you prefer that. You can also set your view assist to on. This is particularly useful when using the Canon C-Log profile. An extremely useful feature when shooting C-Log or Cinema Locked mode on the C300 is located in the LCD viewfinder setup portion of the menu. Down here you'll find what's called View Assist. Turning that function on gives you a preview of what a mathematically correct Rec. 709 image from your C-Log footage will look like once color graded. It won't record this image, it will still record a C-Log image, but on the monitor and on your EVF, you will get a view. On the monitor and the EVF, you get a preview of what the image could look like once it's color graded. It's very useful when you're on set and you're checking your exposure and your levels and you want to see what it's going to look like after it goes through color correction. Down below that, you'll see that you also get other really important features that are not accessible on a DSLR. Things like peaking, different levels. You have 2 settings of peaking. You also have zebras. Again, you have 2 settings of zebras. You can use both or just one. Incredibly useful for making sure that your image is exposed correctly and your focus is spot on. You also have markers that you can enable that give you safety zones, gives you grids, and also gives you separate aspect ratios for framing different aspect ratios of an image, whether it be 185, 14:9, 4:3, or 2:3:5:1. Finally, down towards the bottom, you'll have your time code set up where you can set how you want your time code to be set. You can set your time code in and out, whether your time code, your BNC port is set to accept or to kick out time code, either one. And you can set your user bit data as well, which is going to be recorded in the metadata of the codec. Down below here, you have your other major functions. Reset, if anything goes wrong with your camera, or if you have settings that you don't like, you don't know how they got this way, everything's just a little too confusing, you can always go to reset all your settings, just your camera settings, or you can just reset your assignable buttons, of which there are, I believe, 13 user assignable buttons on the camera. No, I'm sorry, there are 15 of which there are 15 user assignable buttons on the camera. If you just want to reset everything back to your factory default, you can come in here and reset and it'll go back. So down below we have time zone, clock set, your waveform, what that's going to look like on your LCD, chin lock. If you want to have plain flat 24p, if you know you're doing a film out of your image. And this camera is also a world camera, so you can transfer from NTSC or you can go to PAL if you want to shoot 25p or 50. Down here you also have your controls for recording, such as your relay record, or if you want to do double slot recording. You have your settings for your bit rate and resolution. Maximum capabilities are 50 megabit 1920 by 1080. You can also do a downscaled 720. If you need more time and you don't need the highest bit rate, you can do a 35 megabit or even a 25 megabit. Some of the special recording modes available to you. You can do interval recording for time lapse. You can do frame recording. You can also do slow and fast motion. You can do a pre-record, which the camera is able to record 3 seconds before you hit the record button. So if you have that feature on, it's constantly filling with 3 seconds into its buffer, and then when you actually hit record, it will keep the previous 3 seconds to that frame. Slow and fast motion allows you to get your high speed or slow speed footage. You can get up to 30p in 1080 mode or 60p in 720 mode. That's it. Down at the bottom of here, you can also initialize your media too to clear out your CF or SD cards. And that's pretty much all the menu. There are, of course, many other features that are accessible through the menu, but way more than we have time to get through today. Now let's talk about price. The Embassy of Cinema C300 EF package goes for $375 a day, 3-day week, and 1-day weekend prices. That includes the handles, the monitor and XLR module. It also includes a Zacuto C300 base plate with 12-inch rods. It also includes 4 32GB compact flash cards. Also included are the perfect tripod and fluid head setup. This is a Manfrotto 509 HD fluid head with 536 carbon fiber sticks. You also get 3 Canon BP955 batteries and a Pelican case for storage and safety. Thank you for tuning in to the Embassies of Cinema channel. I'm Brian C. Weed. See you next time.